Good afternoon everybody, my name is Aki, and you're watching Art-Diving with Aki. Today we're going to begin with a building tutorial. We're just going to go over the basics, what these are, all of this as well, and yeah, let's get right into it. So first, you start off in the Home tab of Roblox Studio, which has the Select, Move, Scale, and Rotate functions. So let's get right into it. So select, if I put in, so let's say I put two parts in and I want to drag this one, I can just drag it however I want, just by selecting it with the Select tool. Move, I have to click on it as well to select it, and then I can drag it in a specific axis direction. Scale will scale it and make it bigger or smaller, depending on which way you scale it, like this. Also an axis direction. Rotate will rotate it in whatever direction I choose. Everything's in its name and it's very easy to understand. One thing with the rotate is, so I'll drag it up and then I rotate it, let's say this way. And now it has this weird rotate as opposed to this one. And you'll see up here that this is the world axis, and so Z is always this way, X that way, and then Y is up and down. But as you can see here, when you do this, it's more important with moving. So for example here, I can move it in the parts direction. So this is the Z for the part, even though Z is this way where the Y would be. But if I want to follow the world axis, I do Control L, and then I switch it and it stays set like to exactly that, and then it'll always move this way, and then Control L to go back to the part orientation. Now we'll go into collisions. If I have a collision, so let's say I'll show you this. So if I clone it with collisions on, it'll go directly on top of it, but if I turn off collisions and then clone this with Control D, it spawns inside of it, and then I can drag it out. And what collisions does is it will stop a part from going into another part when it collides with it. As you can see, I have to push really hard for it to go through it, but it's great for lining things up. But if you have it disabled, what I often do is I just drag it, and then there, you see the white line? The white line is a symbol that it's bordering and touching another object in the world. So I tend to use that more often, because collisions can get annoying when I'm trying to put things inside of things. This is just faster for me. When I'm trying to duplicate, it's more when I try to duplicate things. With the hotkey for select would be Control 1, Control 2 for move, Control 3 for scale, and Control 4 for rotate. The terrain you have to assign your own hotkey by going into File, Advanced, Customize Shortcuts, and then in here you have all of the different things you can do, and you can change what shortcut you want by clicking in and then setting what you want it to be. So with the terrain editor, you can add terrain into it, which looks like this. It's a little more realistic looking than the normal blocks. And then you can add, subtract. All the names are self-explanatory. This will grow it, and it'll expand. Erode will get rid of things. You paint a new texture on it, so let's say sandstone. Smooth will make things a little it won't be as rough. You can also smoothen it away apparently. And then flatten will just make it flat. That's the terrain. It's more used for realistic looking builds. And then you have the toolbox, which is very useful for if you're trying to find a plugin. You have to go here. Now they moved it. Audio, meshes. You'll insert a mesh. So it's a part, but it has a mesh in it that changes its appearance. And then we have images, which are just pictures. They're useful, and I'll get into that in a later video. And then models are objects, like full models. So for example, I'll take this pine tree for example. It's a model, and then you have all of the parts in there. And these are free. Then we have your part option here. You can choose from a part, sphere, or a wedge, and a cylinder. And that's what they look like. Block, sphere, wedge, cylinder. And it'll spawn wherever you're looking on the nearest object on top of it, if out in the center. Sometimes it'll be a little glitchy and not do that. These ones you don't really need. These are properties which you can see on this panel over here. If it's anchored, it means it's stuck there and you can't move it. It'll always be there unless you turn off anchor with the script. Lock means I can't select it after it's been selected. That's what happens with the base plate. Like no matter how much I click, I can't select the base plate without clicking in here. That's because it's locked. So I'll do the same with this cylinder right here. I lock it, then I choose a different part. Now I'm gonna try to, okay, don't hit the lock button up here. Change it in the properties and it'll be different. But then I can't select that part anymore. So locked is very useful if you want to make sure you don't accidentally shift things like that. Now moving on to the model tab, here you have the same thing, same hotkeys. Transform is just a mix of all of these, I believe. I don't use it, you don't really need it. It's not very overly useful. So this is how many degrees you move whenever you rotate it. So let's say I wanted it to move, or I wanted it to be rotated 65 degrees every time I dragged it one thing. Everything means 65, so this is how you get like precise things. And that the hotkey for that is Shift 4, and you immediately start typing. So you can start typing your number in 45, for example. And now I have 45 degree increments. And the studs, which are the measurement system for Roblox, it's about that big. That's about one stud. And you can change how much your stud increment by doing Shift 2 or clicking. And then you can change it to whatever you want, and you immediately start typing as well. So let's say 5. Now every time I move or scale it, it'll be 5 studs at a time. Whereas before I had it at 0.1, which I recommend always using because you can be more detailed and more exact. And whenever you do rotate, so Control R, which is the hotkey for rotate 90 degrees, or tilt 90 degrees is T, Control T. It always gets like 0.05 studs off, so if you do 0.1, you'll be more precise, and people won't notice the 0.05 off as well. Group makes a model, so let's say I wanted to group these 3. I can either right click and then hit group, or I can just do Control G. And it usually helps to just, it's the sphere. Oh, it is, okay. So it usually helps if you just if you choose the select tool to select multiple things at once, because as you can see, when you do the move, and then I try, for example, selecting the wedge and the sphere, it's harder to do because there's all the arrows and things on the way, so it makes it easier if you select. So anyways, you do Control G, and now it's in a model, and so now I can just move the model all at once by selecting only the model. As you can see here, I don't have any of that selected. And if I want all of the children, I right click and then click select children, and then now I have all of that. And then that's how you could change the brick color all at once for a model. And then if you don't want something to be grouped together because you did it a while back, you do Control U and things will be ungrouped. So now we have the spawn, which is where your player will spawn. It's self-explanatory. You can scale it, it's not a set size. You can change its properties, effects. I use particle emitter, spotlight the most, and smoke if you want, and fire if you want a more realistic looking thing. But if you're going for more cartoony look, I recommend a particle emitter. I'll get into that in a later video. And then here we have the advanced objects, which has all of the objects you can possibly have. You can scroll through, or what I usually use it for is for getting the corner wedge, which looks like that. And it's a corner wedge, so if I wanted a corner that on either end would be wedges, I use this and scale it. It's very useful for houses. And if you hold shift down and then scale, it'll scale it proportionately. Now we go on to test. Here you can test your game, and there's settings. I usually press F5 and shift F5 to play would make you go into the game, and then shift F5 will cancel your playtime, and then you'll go back into normal building mode. One thing I forgot to mention was in here you have game settings, and you have your basic info. All the things are very self-explanatory, except for these. If you have this off, you won't be able to do a data store when you're scripting. So if you want to do a data store to save data, you need to have these 2 settings on. Anyways, now we go on to view. You have Explorer, which is this. It shows what's in your game, all the instances and stuff, including number values. So everything that you'll be spending a lot of time in here, and in properties, which shows the properties and the characteristics of the part you currently have selected. So for example, here's the brick color, and it shows the color it is. You can also go in here if you want a more precise color, or you want to do some shading. This is the material. It's all very self-explanatory. I'll go more in depth in it later in a different video. Then here we have the output, which when scripting will show you error messages, or if there's infinite yields. Everything you need to know for scripting will be in here, as well as what you print. But I'll get to that in my scripting basics video. And then this view sector will show you the world axes. I didn't know what this was. I could look here and go, okay, that's the x-axis, so then X is always first, so it's 12 studs long. Or I can also just know that red's X, blue's Z, and green is Y. That's the more trustworthy way to do it too. And then that's why I often have that closed. And then if you click on this, you can get specific angles. So if you're trying to, for example, you're trying to get your screenshot of your avatar because you want to make a shadow face or something, I don't know. It'll just quickly spawn him in. So now he's there, but I'm at a weird angle and I don't want to have to angle it perfectly to get at the perfect angle. I just click front, and then I just have to press Q or E to go down and then move until I'm happy with where I am. If you hold shift, you can slow down how fast you move. So if you're trying to get really close to something to see a specific detail, just hold shift and you move slower. Now we're getting into the plugins since I'm already here. Here you click manage plugins, and then you can see all the plugins you have and if they're enabled or not. And to add plugins, you would go into toolbox over here and then click plugins. Some of them are paid. They used to all be free, but now you have to pay for some of them. The ones I use most are the UI Design Lite, which will make the UI look nicer. Usually it's rounded. This building tools by F3X I use all the time. So if I select multiple things at once, so let's say this part and that wedge, if I want to scale it in one direction together, I can do that with this one. But if I try doing it with Studio, this is what I get. I can't just do it in one axis, it goes in all directions and it just kind of gets bigger by itself. And now, just for a little bonus video for making it this far into probably one of the most more boring videos you'll ever watch, I'll quickly show you how to make the algorithm for making a octagon without using gap fill, which I rarely use anyways. So first you make a square, and then you take the length of the side, so this one, for example, now it's 4, and then you set your move increments to the quarter, so 4 divided by 4 is 1, and then I set my move increments up here to 1 stud. I duplicate it, I drag it out to the side by that, and then I scale it to touch it perfectly, and then I scale it by the quarter number in on either side so that it's right in the middle. And then you insert a wedge, and then you do Control R until it's on the right there, until it's on the right side. Then this is the 0.05 I was talking about. Maybe it's usually 0.05. And then you get it over here, and then make sure it's touching both this part and that part. Then you drag it over, then you scale it down to be just as tall as it, like that, and then you scale it down to match it perfectly so that at the end you receive something, you get a nice little corner. Then you duplicate it, and then you do Control R twice, Control T twice, and then drag it to the other side. And then you select all of these 3, you duplicate it, rotate it twice, and then you drag it to the opposite end. And then you select all 6, you duplicate it and do Control R to get it right 90 degrees right on at that edge. And there you go. Now you have a octagon. And as long as you divide the length of the side of the square by 4, and then use that as your move increments, you'll always be able to get an octagon no matter how big the square is. So yeah, that's gonna about wrap it up for today. And just one last thing. The hotkeys most of the hotkeys are the same as the standard hotkeys. So Control Z is undo, Control Y redo, Control C, Control V copy and paste, Control X cut, which automatically copies it as well and gets rid of it. Delete to delete things, the delete key. And if you want to shift a specific thing into it, so for example this decal, I copy it and then I select the part, Control Shift V, and we go inside of it. Whereas if I just select the part and I do Control V, nothing happens. So one last piece of information I'd like to say before I end the video. So thanks for sitting through this video. Hopefully it wasn't too boring. Hopefully you learned something and are excited or looking forward to building. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a like, and if you think it will help others learn how to build, be sure to share it. And if you want more tutorials just like this one for GUI scripting or building, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell to not miss a video. Or if you're interested in my showcases or building challenges I will do in the future, be sure to subscribe as well if you want to see those. So that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, tschüssli.